Let's speak to the Conservatives. I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by the Shadow Business and Trade Secretary, Andrew Griffith, from West Sussex. A very good morning to you, Andrew. Thanks for joining us. Firstly, your reaction to the GDP data, which was better than expected.
I don't know, it depends what your expectations were. It was a slowdown in the second quarter of the year. What it sort of means, Wilf, is we've had the unemployment figures, we've had the inflation figures, and it's pretty much confirming we're in a period of stagflation. That means the economy is not growing, but cost of living in ordinary people's weekly shop is going up at a much faster rate, about 10 times faster than the economy is growing. So we're all getting poorer. We've seen these huge borrowing figures from the Chancellor. The National Institute for Economic and Social Research has talked about a potential 50 billion black hole. And the one thing you know, particularly given the level of public debt we've already got in this country, we're borrowing just to pay the interest, is you can't tax your way out of this. So it really is a big moment for the Chancellor. We can't have any more of this talk about taxing, aspiration, taxing inheritance, driving more people overseas. It's time for a big reset, and that needs to be about public spending.
I mean, with all due respect, Andrew, that sort of tone to the data would have been fair last month, where in May we did see a decline, but June was much better than expected, strong you'd even say, at 0.4, 0.5%. April was revised upwards, and if you extrapolate the first half of the year, the annual rate is 2.2%, but the first half of the year is showing the UK growing at the fastest pace in the G7, and stagflation is a bit of a leap. We haven't got sharply rising unemployment. We haven't got elevated unemployment, even if the direction of travel might have changed recently. So, this month's data was a lot better than expected.
We should play those games of expectation. Look, you make some fair points, but you'll know the rate of inflation is running at twice the rate of the growth of the economy. That's not sustainable. We've now got unemployment, particularly amongst young people, even before the impact of things like the Employment Rights Bill, 300 pages of red tape, which every business and employer that you will speak to tells you that's having a damaging, chilling effect on employment. We've got A-level results today. We have wonderful, well-educated young people in this country who will either look for a job or look for a job after having gone to college. Youth unemployment, employment between people between 18 and 25, is now 11% getting on for 12%. There's a slow burn crisis in our public finances. So I'm not all doom and gloom. Any growth is better than no growth at all. But really, it's not a conversation about the sort of economy that we want to be when we're, as no doubt the Chancellor will be doing, bragging about 0.3% growth at a time when people will go down to the supermarket this weekend and they will see the cost of their shopping basket going up at a much faster rate.
Yeah, I don't think the tone of her statement was bragging, but either way, we can move forward from that part of the discussion. You mentioned it's A-level results day. What is your message to students across the country who some will get the results they've dreamt for, of course, some won't?
Results are just one part of, character, of opportunity. You and I both know that many of the most successful businesses, entrepreneurs, and people in other walks of life have pursued greatness, notwithstanding their grades. So congratulations to those that have got the grades that they want. For those that others, life is never a single path, and there's a bright future ahead for all. This is a wonderful country in which to make an opportunity. It's one reason why so many people want to come and live here, but it's also why it's such a tragedy when people decide that the best opportunities for them are overseas, because they don't feel that the government rewards ambition, aspiration, entrepreneurship. Those are all values that are really important to me, very important to the Conservative Party.
You've ran a huge business before you were in politics. Do you think sometimes, when people are in their 20s, for example, and companies are looking to hire, we look too closely at grades, or did you used to look at many other factors? What other factors did you focus on when hiring people?
You want character, and I always said, that ambition beats experience, right? If you've got the right mindset, if you've got the aptitude, that willingness, sometimes that is about, look, I mean, this is probably not very fashionable, but being the first into the office of a morning, just getting there, showing a real willingness to roll up your sleeves and muck in. Those are absolutely, to me, as important attributes as the credentialism of great grades. Well done for those that've got them. I don't want to take anything away from that, but ultimately success is based on the combination of those factors.
Just finally, I wanted to ask you about the small boats crossings. Both Robert Jenrick and Chris Philp have travelled to northern France this week and tried to highlight, I think, that they think the French could be doing more. Where were those sorts of, I guess, eyeball-grabbing attempts, those clickbait-grabbing attempts when you were in power?
I think people did travel to both northern France, and I know people travelled to Rwanda to get the Rwanda returns deterrence scheme. It was, I think, it was, at that time, it was seen perhaps more by our political class as more novel than it ever was. It's a good scheme. It's a deterrence scheme. It's very much in the vein of the sort of thing that the government's trying to do now, belatedly, with its 17 in, 1 out return scheme. So I think in many ways, the previous Conservative government was ahead of the time. It realised there was a crisis. It realised that, particularly with the legal system as it was, and being hard to change through things like opposition in the House of Lords at that moment in time, that you really needed an effective deterrent. Now, I don't think you can put all of that on the French. I think there are some pull factors that make the UK a place where, economically or just rationally, unfortunately, if you get a foot on shore in the UK under the current legal system, it is too easy to stay and it can become a perceived meal ticket for life. That's a big pull factor, which is in the control of the government. It's one of the things that the Rwanda deterrent would have effectively dealt with, and it's still tragic that the first thing the Labour government did on taking office was cancel a scheme that was ready to go. It had been much delayed, but it was ready to go, and it would have dealt with a lot of this issue.
Andrew Griffith, thanks so much for joining us. Good to see you.